Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Saturday, December 21st. So welcome to a very important energetic day here in the cosmos. And of course, I'm talking about the solstice. So the sun is, of course, at the final degrees of the Sagittarius energy coming into the day. But at 4:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the sun will be moving into Capricorn energy, triggering the solstice event. Now, the solstice energy is an ending, a closure, and a beginning of a brand new chapter. Now, of course, all the cardinal signs, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, they all represent the time of change, the change in season. And of course, with Aries kind of kicking off the equinox, Cancer energy, the summer solstice, depending on where it is that you're at. Libra energy, of course, the fall equinox. And here we are at the last chapter of the zodiac wheel, now moving into the dark night of the soul. What does that mean? Well, first of all, the sun moving into Capricorn energy kicks off the 3 days of darkness. The sun essentially does not move out of the particular low point that it finds itself in at this particular point in the calendar. And there's a lot of, let's call it, theorizing that the sun is essentially hung on the cross of the celestial longitude and latitude, and it stays there for 3 days and it starts moving again, essentially being reborn on the 25th of December. Of course, there is a lot of information to unpack, and if this is a topic and theme that you're semi-interested in, first of all, take a listen to the Capricorn season forecast, that solstice forecast that I put out there. Listen to the zodiac forecast that I put out at the beginning of December for your zodiac sign. Download that energy guide, do the work in that particular guide as well. And of course, there is a whole damn podcast, an hour-long podcast over on my Patreon for those that want to kind of unpack why we do these traditions, where these holidays come from, where it actually stemmed from, the energy around it. And of course, there is a lot of rabbit holes to kind of fall down on those particular topics and themes. So nonetheless, today is a magical day in the cosmos. Is it going to feel good? Probably not. It never does. When we are closing out a karmic chapter and entering into a new one, we are bombarded with triggers and activations in order for the dark force agenda to keep us in the lower vibrations and frequencies, so that is essentially what we're locking in for this next karmic chapter. We have to do our best flexing our energetic and spiritual muscles in order to have power and control over our mental plane, over our heart space, in order to stay in the high vibration possible as we move through these very potent energetic gateways. Very hard thing to do with the shitstorm of reality that has been thrown at us here as of late. Now, that all being said, the moon is in Virgo energy. And again, the moon shifting in Virgo here yesterday. Very interesting dynamic as we enter into the solstice energy. There is no doubt in my mind that all of these events are divinely scripted for our evolution, for our growth. And because the moon in Virgo, of course, is an earth sign that has us very connected to our physical form, to our physical environment, but ruled over by Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, there's a lot going on in our headspace. We have to be very careful about that, because what we focus on is what we manifest. What we give our attention to is what we give power and what we bring to life. And of course, the moon being in Virgo energy wants to focus on the problems in order to fix it, heal it, repair it. But as we move through the solstice gateway, we have to kind of be a little bit extra careful that we're not so focused on all the things that aren't working that we lose the attitude of gratitude for all of the things that are. And so again, this is time for us to really put into practice what it is that we've learned, what it is that we've been tested with here in the year of 8, because of course, our creator abilities are coming online. If we've done the work, if we have the power and control over our own damn selves. So we're definitely going to be feeling a lot of heaviness, a lot of weight. Capricorn season in its entirety is all about the physical construct of this materialistic realm. And of course, with Saturn as its ruler, how could we not be a little bit of a negative Nancy? Especially, when we first move into this solstice gateway and we sit in this 3 days of darkness, pretty hard to kind of, keep the high vibe that many of us want to be keeping. So it is a challenge, but it is a challenge that I think us light workers are ready to accept wholeheartedly. And we are definitely going to do our damnedest in order to override this ego programming. So with all of that being said, there are 10 different aspects popping off here today. 7 of them are going to involve the moon. Interestingly enough, we kick the day off with the sun in the final degrees of Sagittarius energy. And again, that 29 critical crisis karmic degree of any sign is no joke. It's a mastery number. It's a death/rebirth number. There's a lot of intensity there. And if you want to take a moment, reflect back over what Sagittarius season was all about, take a listen to that astro forecast to see how your Sag energy kind of lined up. It's a good reflection back because we're about to move forward in a pretty big way. We have the sun in the Sagittarius energy in the final degrees, making a very positive interaction with Uranus, the Great Awakener, who of course is retrograde looking back in Taurus energy at all of the people, places, and things that we've outgrown, that we have no longer have attachments with or reasoning to kind of stick with, but for some reason we're having a hard time letting go of said people, places, and things. Now, this is a beautiful interaction, which means that there's going to be a jolt of energy, shifting our mood and our attitude, downloading us with a aha moment that once you know, you cannot unknow. Once you see a different perspective, you cannot unsee it. Once you kind of receive the information, the insights of where it is that you want to go, you're not going to be able to stop thinking about it. And lucky for us, that sun in Sagittarius energy, again, being kind of ruled over by Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings, wants us to dream up the biggest dream possible, to keep the optimism, the confidence on the desired outcome as strong as possible, especially as we move through the solstice gateway. The moon in this Virgo energy is going to make a positive interaction with Chiron, the wounded healer, who is retrograde in Aries energy. Chiron's whole purpose is to bring this new version of self online, to heal the pain and trauma wounds still alive and well within us, to examine the areas of concern still in the shadow parts of our existence in order to actually do something about it. We want to grow, we want to heal, we want to evolve. Now, we love this particular interaction because the moon in Virgo, again, kind of supporting us in improving ourselves, in seeing the growth and seeing our ability to heal, to improve ourselves. This is all good, and it has us thinking about this new version of self, how comfortable and how familiar we're starting to feel in this new version of self, and what it is that is now actually available to us as far as options go, now that we are anchored in this high vibration, in this highest frequency. 4:21 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the sun shifts into Capricorn season. The solstice begins. So again, I am going to recommend that you listen to that astro forecast, that you listen to your zodiac forecast, that you do the work in the December energy guide. There is a lot to cover. And again, if you're super interested in doing a deep dive in this particular period of time, please jump over to my Patreon. You do not have to be a member in order to access that. That is available pay-per-view. But of course, being a VIP is the way to go. So I'm definitely going to encourage you to do just that. We have the moon in this Virgo energy directly opposing, sitting across from Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who of course is in Pisces energy, now in his rulership over Capricorn season, over this solstice gateway. An opposition doesn't feel good. We have the moon, our emotional self, sitting across from, again, Mr. Karma himself. We are watching Mr. Karma in this Pisces energy totally dissolve the foundation structures, boundaries, not only of our belief system, but of the old world that belongs to the old version of self. And so in opposition, we're not going to feel good about it. There is going to be a lot of pressure in the mental plane. There is going to be a negative narrative that takes over because we're getting a little bit of a reality check. Again, when you focus on all of the things in your physical realm that are not working, they become huge. You have to balance that Pisces energy out and still have hopes, wishes, and dreams for the future. You have to understand that your current circumstance does not dictate what is possible for you. But with the moon in Virgo energy, because we are focused on the problems in order to fix them, sometimes we can kind of push ourselves into the dark pit and not realize that we have the ability to actually climb our asses out. The moon is going to get into the boxing ring, square off with Jupiter. Jupiter being the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, blessings. He's currently retrograde, again, looking back, reflecting, reanalyzing in Gemini energy, old thoughts, old ideas, old perspectives, old wisdom, old knowledge that, again, we kind of have to breathe new life in, integrate it, put it into practice here in this present moment. But of course, a square does not feel good. Gemini energy, Virgo energy, both ruled over by Mercury. Mercury still half drugged, trying to come out of his retrograde post energy. Again, he just went direct under that full moon in Gemini on the 15th. He's in Sagittarius energy. It is a struggle trying to stay optimistic, trying to stay positive through a lot of these triggers and activations. Now, a square is highlighting tension and conflict because we're going through a growing pain. We want to be positive. We want to be confident. We want to be optimistic for what is to come. But taking a good look back at all that has happened, all that has transpired, of how we've actually gotten here, it is a little bit of a darker type of perspective. So if this was a positive energy, we would have optimism and confidence. We would be dreaming big, but this particular energy has us all kind of stuck up in the headspace, and the headspace at this particular juncture, not the brightest, not the happiest place to be in. We're feeling very overwhelmed. Jupiter turns the volume up on whatever it is that we're thinking and feeling. And right now, we are having information overload. We are having a lot of pressure in that headspace, and we are not seeing the path, the way out, the direction forward. To add a little bit of insult to injury, we do have the moon in Virgo making a very harsh interaction with Pluto. Pluto being the great transformer, who of course is an Aquarius energy. I talked about this a couple of days ago in one of the daily energy forecasts that typically speaking, we love Pluto energy and Virgo energy working together because Pluto kind of takes us into the deepest parts of our psyche to examine the egoic programming, and the mercurial aspect that rules over Virgo energy, which is the lower level intellect, allows us to flip the script, allows us to restructure and reframe some of the situations, some of the circumstances that, of course, have a little bit of fear, doubt, and insecurity attached to them. Pluto's whole point is to take us down a trip down the darkest parts of memory lane in order for us to see those particular memories from a different perspective, a different level of awareness, a different consciousness. And the whole point is to empower us, to give us that power and control back, especially over our mental plane. Of course, the Aquarius energy that Pluto is in wants us to be thinking about the futuristic goal, vision, and dream that we want to end up in. The Virgo energy focused in the smaller details on how to actually get there, and focusing on what isn't working so that we can fix it, heal it, resolve it into something that is working, that we wouldn't mind building our futuristic realm and reality off of. The moon is then going to make a very harsh interaction with Venus. Venus being the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money. She is also in this Aquarius energy. She's thinking about her happiness, her joy, her pleasure, her safety, security, stability, especially in a futuristic realm. Again, the whole point of Aquarius energy is to be emotionally detached from our situations and our circumstances so that we can see the bigger, broader picture, so that we can project ourselves into a futuristic goal, vision, and dream, so that we can break it down into small manageable pieces so that we can have power and control over making some adjustments, some improvements in this present moment that would help us align with being able to actually manifest the futuristic goal, vision, and dream that has our heart feeling a little bit happy. Now, of course, the moon and Venus interacting in not such a nice way. This is when we're beating ourselves up. This is when we're breaking ourselves down. This is when we're picking things apart in order to see, again, what isn't working, what we could do better, what we can improve upon, what needs to be fixed, healed, repaired in order for this futuristic vision, goal, and dream to actually have a chance to manifest. The moon is then going to make a harsh interaction with Chiron, and you're probably saying, oh my goodness, this is a heavy day of energy. I told you it would be. It always is when we're entering into a new karmic chapter. This is the test to see whether or not you are going to allow the matrix programming to have power and control over your mental plane and over your emotions and therefore your actions, or whether or not the heads up of these particular triggers and activations are going to put you in a placement of empowerment so that you can keep the highest vibe available, the highest vibe possible. It is up to you. The moon interacting with Chiron in this way, going to rip the wounds wide open, going to rip the scabs off of some of the wounds in which we've been trying to heal. When Chiron, the wounded healer, is aspected in not such a nice way, you best believe that we do not even see the amount of growth and healing that we've been able to do, the amount of growth and healing that we still have to do. What we're absolutely focused on is the fears, the doubts, the insecurities, the pain, and the trauma. And having the moon in Virgo, again, focus on all of the bad, all that isn't working. We are highly critical, super judgmental, not only of ourselves, but of the people, places, and things that we are surrounding ourselves with. This is not a good vibe. This is not a good energy. This is going to have a lot of people mentally and emotionally kind of breaking, if you will. Again, not trying to be a fear monger. We have the option and opportunity to override this energy if you've been doing the work. The moon in Virgo then going to semi-square, creating a little bit of tension and conflict with Mars, the god of war ruling over physical energy, drive, passion, desire, even our anger. He is currently retrograde in the heart and soul of the zodiac in Leo energy. His ass is sat on the bench. He cannot take action. He cannot make any moves. He has to sit there, reassess whether or not the moves that he wants to be making are belonging to the ego goal, or whether or not we're heart aligned enough in order to see where it is that we need to pivot and start kind of pursuing new passions, new desires, new paths, new directions that are better heart aligned. So, emotionally speaking, we're restless. We got ants in our pants. We're easily triggered and activated. The anger, the frustration is just below the surface. And if we're not careful, we're going to create a little bit of a dramatic situation, because Leo energy, even though you don't want to really think about it, it is looking for the drama. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. And of course, if our shadow is coming out to play, we don't care what we got to do in order to be seen and heard. And that is definitely stirring the pot. And because we are in the solstice energy, and the dark force energies want us to lock in the lowest vibration and frequency possible for this next chapter, we have the recipes of a disaster in the making, as far as I'm concerned. But because we're in the last chapter of the year of 8, where we've been tested, where we're going through exams, so to speak, to see who is going to graduate, who is going to get their creator abilities locked in and online. This is the final hurrah. Okay, so heading into the holiday season in the solstice energy with all these triggers and activations, this is the ultimate test. I hope you studied. I hope you've been doing the work. I hope we all pass. So the last aspect of the day is a semi-positive one. Thank goodness, because the day, to be quite honest, is just trials and tribulations. We have the sun now in this Capricorn energy, making a positive interaction, thank goodness for this, with Pluto, the great transformer, who is in Aquarius energy. So there's going to be an intensity. There's going to be a boss up energy, because again, Capricorn energy, general foreman of the zodiac. Pluto, well, he is the great transformer. He will totally destroy something if it is below you, in order for you to be empowered enough to tap into the power and control of the highest version of self, for you to be the creator of your realm and reality. So, of course, the sun shining very bright light on this Capricorn energy. We're not going anywhere as fast. We're standing in place. We're looking back at how it is that we've gotten here. We're looking forward on where it is that we would prefer to go from here, but we're not doing anything about it. Why? Because the sun isn't moving. We will not see any action for the foreseeable future. Again, 3 days of darkness. This is time for you to sit with yourself. This is time for you to be reflective. This is time for you to figure out what foundation systems and structures have got to be dissolved, have got to be broken down in order to free you up to build something better in the place of the things that, of course, now are kind of treating you like a prison. So, yeah, there's going to be an intensity here. Yes, we're going to feel very torn. Do we continue to do what it is that we've already done, because the Capricorn energy just loves tradition, loves what is tried, tested, or true? Or the Aquarius energy is attempting to free us, liberate us from those constructs, from those restrictions. Keep in mind, this is the first Capricorn season that we have had in 16 years that Pluto is not in the Capricorn energy. This is an amazing energy that's probably going to feel very weird, very awkward, because we haven't felt it before. But this is also a little bit of a tug of war on where to put our energies. what to do, what to pursue. Should we do what we think we should do, or should we do what we feel we should do? Because those are two very different things. Do we do what we need to be doing for ourselves, or do we do what we need to be doing for other people? Two very different things. Again, the tug of war is going to be very alive and well, but at the same time, nothing needs to be done right now other than analyzing, observing, sitting in the field, sitting in those thoughts, and figuring out how to maintain the highest vibration and frequency available to us.